All right, strap in, folks, because we're about to talk about the guy who didn't just play football. He violated it. J.J. Okocha wasn't just a player. He was a one-man humiliation festival. Defenders didn't just lose to him. They lost their dignity, their pride, and sometimes even the will to live. Imagine being a professional athlete, trained for years, paid millions, and then this dude from Nigeria shows up and treats you like a training cone. A literal cone. The man didn't just dribble past players, he made them question their entire career choices. Why did I even start playing football? Should I have been a baker, a florist, anything but this? Let's start at the beginning, because oh boy, this man was born disrespectful. Okocha didn't learn fancy tricks. He was born with them. By the time he was a teenager, defenders were already filing complaints. "Your Honor, this child is too good. It's unfair. My ankles hurt just looking at him." Then he hit Europe, and oh my God, the chaos. His time at Eintracht Frankfurt? More like Eintracht frankly, how is this legal? There's this one goal, you know the one, where he dribbled through the entire Karlsruhe defense like they were mannequins in a mall. The goalkeeper, left in a puddle of tears. The defenders, retired on the spot. The crowd, screaming like they just witnessed a magic trick. Because they had. And that was just the warm-up. Okocha didn't care if it was a friendly, a cup final, or a literal World Cup. If you were on the pitch with him, you were getting embarrassed. No exceptions. No mercy. But here's the thing. People loved it. Because Okocha wasn't just showboating to be a jerk. Okay, maybe a little. He did it because football was fun to him. And if you weren't having fun watching him, well, you were lying. So, if you're ready for more stories about the man who turned defenders into memes, smash that subscribe button. Because trust me, we're just getting started, and you do not want to miss what comes next. P.S. If you think your favorite player could have stopped him, oh my sweet summer child, we'll get to that. All right, so we've established J.J. Okocha was a walking, talking violation of defenders' human rights. But now we're getting into the real disrespect. The nutmegs. Oh, the nutmegs. This man didn't just nutmeg players. He made it a personal mission to embarrass entire generations of defenders. If you played against Okocha, you didn't just lose the ball. You lost your dignity, your social standing, and probably your girlfriend's respect. Let's talk about his time at Fenerbahce. Turkey. A country known for tough defenders, passionate fans, and absolutely zero tolerance for getting clowned on. So what does Okocha do? He turns their league into his personal comedy show. There's this one clip, you've seen it, where he nutmegs the same guy twice in 5 seconds. Twice. The defender's reaction, pure existential crisis. You can see it in his eyes. I trained my whole life for this? Really? And it wasn't just random players. Oh no. Okocha went after everybody. Legends, captains, even goalkeepers weren't safe. Remember that time he chipped the keeper, realized it was too easy, so he waited for the defender to recover just so he could nutmeg him again before scoring. That wasn't football. That was a hate crime. But here's the thing. Okocha didn't just do this in small leagues. Nah. He brought the disrespect to the World Cup. Nigeria versus Spain, 1998. The Spanish defenders, world class. Okocha's respect for them, non-existent. He dribbled through their entire midfield like they were traffic cones, then had the audacity to smile while doing it. The Spanish fans were furious. The Nigerian fans, losing their minds. The rest of the world, taking notes on how to commit legal robbery. And let's not forget his time at PSG, the club that thought they were signing a normal attacking midfielder. LOL. Okocha turned Paris into his personal playground. Training sessions. Pure chaos. Teammates, constantly getting humbled. Opponents, begging for mercy. There's a reason Ronaldinho later said Okocha was his inspiration, because the man was out here inventing new ways to embarrass people before social media could even expose them properly. So yeah, if you thought part 1 was wild, buckle up. Because we're just scratching the surface of Okocha's reign of terror, and if you're not subscribed yet, what are you even doing? You need to see what comes next. Trust me, it only gets worse for defenders. Listen up, because we're about to enter the golden age of Okocha's absolute disrespect, the Bolton Wanderers' years. That's right, the Nigerian magician took his act to the Premier League and turned one of England's most unfashionable clubs into the hottest ticket in town. Why? Because people would literally buy tickets just to see how many defenders he could humiliate in 90 minutes. Picture this. It's 2002. Bolton's squad is full of aging hard men and no-nonsense bruisers. Then in walks this smiling, dribbling menace who treats every match like his personal freestyle competition. Opposing teams didn't know whether to mark him or call the police, because what he was doing should have been illegal. The Premier League had never seen anything like it. Tough tackling English defenders, reduced to stumbling fools. World-class imports, left grabbing at shadows. Remember that free kick against Aston Villa? Oh, you better believe you remember. The man took a free kick with the outside of his boot while looking the other way. The goalkeeper frozen, the defenders confused, the commentators screaming like they'd just witnessed actual witchcraft. And the best part, this wasn't even his most ridiculous goal for Bolton. But here's what made Okocha special. He didn't just do this in meaningless games. Oh no. When the pressure was highest, that's when he turned up the style. FA Cup semi-final against Tottenham. No problem. Just gonna dribble through your entire team like they're school kids. Relegation battle? Perfect time to try that new trick he'd been working on. The man had nerves of steel and ankles of pure elastic. And the fans, they ate it up. The Reebok Stadium became a temple of entertainment, with Okocha as the high priest of humiliation. Grown men would bring their kids just to say, "I saw him play." Opposing fans would grudgingly applaud while their defenders cried in the corner. Even referees would sometimes just stop and watch in awe. The Premier League tried to stop him. They sent their toughest defenders. They assigned extra markers. They probably considered changing the rules. Nothing worked. Okocha kept dancing, kept dribbling, kept destroying reputations. By the time he left Bolton, he wasn't just a player, he was a legend. The kind of player people still talk about in pubs 20 years later. But wait, it gets better. Because we haven't even talked about what he did to Oliver Kahn yet. Oh yes, that's coming up next. And trust me, you don't want to miss what happens when the world's cockiest goalkeeper meets the world's most disrespectful dribbler. All right, grab some popcorn because we're about to relive one of the most disrespectful moments in World Cup history. The day J.J. Okocha turned Germany's golden boy Oliver Kahn into a mere mortal. This wasn't just a football match. This was a public execution disguised as a friendly. And the best part? It happened in Germany's backyard during the 2002 World Cup preparations. Picture the scene. Nigeria versus Germany in a warm-up game. Kahn, fresh off winning the Champions League with Bayern Munich, struts onto the pitch like he owns world football. Cocky grin, perfect hair, that signature red goalkeeper kit. The man was the definition of German football royalty. Enter Okocha, who took one look at Kahn and decided, "Today, I end this man's whole career." What happened next should be studied in universities as the perfect example of how to murder someone's confidence without going to jail. Okocha picks up the ball near midfield and starts his approach. German defenders. They might as well have been training cones. One by one, Okocha sends them to the shadow realm with moves so filthy they should have come with a parental advisory warning. Now he's bearing down on Kahn, the self-proclaimed best goalkeeper in the world. Does Okocha shoot? Of course not. That would be too merciful. Instead, he pulls off the most audacious chip you'll ever see, floating the ball over a completely bamboozled Khan who's left flailing at thin air like a man trying to catch smoke. The ball nestles gently into the net, while Khan eats turf in the most humiliating way possible. But here's the kicker. This wasn't some meaningless friendly goal. This was Okocha sending a message to the entire football world. Your best? Not good enough. The German crowd went silent. Their commentators were speechless. Khan? He looked like he wanted the ground to swallow him whole. And this was just months before Germany was supposed to host the World Cup. The aftermath was even more delicious. German newspapers called it the humiliation. Khan refused to talk about it for years. Meanwhile, Okocha, he just smiled that trademark smile like, yeah, I do this every Tuesday. This single moment summed up everything about Okocha. The audacity, the skill, the absolute disregard for reputations. But wait, it gets better. Because this wasn't even Okocha's most disrespectful moment against Germany. Oh no. Fast forward to the actual World Cup, and he's at it again. This time against the entire German national team. The man treated World Cup matches like his personal playground, dribbling through their defense like they were standing still. German fans were having Vietnam flashbacks every time he touched the ball. The craziest part? After the tournament, several German players admitted they had nightmares about Okocha. Actual professional footballers waking up in cold sweats because of one Nigerian magician. That's the level of psychological damage we're talking about here. And here's the kicker. While Khan went on to have a legendary career, he never forgot that day. Years later, when asked about the toughest players he'd faced, guess who he mentioned first? That's right, the man who turned him into a meme before memes were even a thing. All right, hold on to your seats because we're about to talk about the time Okocha didn't just break ankles. He broke the actual laws of physics. We're diving into that free kick against Cameroon in the 2004 African Cup of Nations. This wasn't just a goal. This was a supernatural event that left scientists scratching their heads and Cameroon's entire football federation questioning reality. Picture this. Nigeria versus Cameroon. Fierce rivals. Tense match. Free kick about 30 yards out. The wall sets up. The goalkeeper prepares. Then Okocha steps up and does something so ridiculous that people still argue about how it was possible to this day. He hits the ball with so much power and swerve that it literally changes direction mid-air. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. The ball starts going left, then right, then left again, like it's got a mind of its own. The goalkeeper? He's still diving the wrong way as the ball hits the net. But here's the best part. After the match, Cameroon's manager actually accused Okocha of using witchcraft. Not joking. He filed an official complaint to CAF, Africa's football governing body, demanding an investigation into how a human being could make a ball move like that. The complaint got so serious that Okocha had to publicly explain the physics behind the kick. His explanation: I just hit it like that. Absolute legend. This moment wasn't just about skill. It was about Okocha's ability to create pure magic when it mattered most. While other players were practicing basic free kicks, Okocha was out here inventing new laws of aerodynamics. The goal was so unbelievable that it won goal of the tournament despite happening in the group stage. Physics professors actually used it in lectures about the Magnus effect. Cameroon's goalkeeper briefly considered early retirement, but this was just one example of Okocha turning up when his country needed him most. Throughout his international career, he carried Nigeria like a one-man army. The 1994 AFCON dominated it. The 1996 Olympics, gold medal while making grown men look silly. The 1998 World Cup made Argentina's defense his personal dance floor. And here's what made Okocha special for Nigeria. He wasn't just playing for himself. Every trick, Every dribble, every moment of magic was for his people. When he played, entire neighborhoods in Lagos would gather around single TVs. Kids across Africa started practicing his moves. He wasn't just a footballer. He was a cultural icon who proved African players could be the most entertaining in the world. The impact was so huge that after that free kick against Cameroon, Nigeria's president at the time called him personally to congratulate him. Not the sports minister, the actual president. That's how big this man was. But wait, you thought this was peak Okocha? Oh, my sweet summer child. We haven't even gotten to the time he broke FIFA's rules so badly they had to create a new one just because of him. That's coming up next, and trust me, you've never heard a story quite like this one. Let's be real, most footballers retire and slowly fade into nostalgia. Not Okocha. This man left the game like a hurricane leaves a coastal town, with absolute destruction in his wake and stories that get wilder every time they're told. We're talking about a player whose influence was so massive that FIFA literally had to rewrite the rules because his tricks were too disrespectful. That's right, Okocha broke the game so badly they needed a legal patch. Remember that time he sat on the ball mid-game just to taunt defenders? Yeah, that's now illegal. Thanks, JJ. He inspired an entire generation of showmen. Neymar's rainbow flicks, Ronaldinho's elastico, Mbappe's audacity. All of them owe a debt to the OG streetball king. The difference? Okocha did it when defenders were still allowed to actually murder you for it. He turned Bolton Wanderers into a global cult. To this day, random Nigerians still show up at Bolton Stadium asking where Okocha's statue is. There isn't one. There should be. But here's the wildest part. Okocha's legacy isn't just about the tricks. It's about the fear he put into defenders. We're talking about professionals who'd rather fake an injury than get dribbled for the 10th time, goalkeepers who'd pretend to tie their laces when he was through on goal, entire teams that would park the bus just to avoid being on his highlight reel. And yet, despite all the humiliation, nobody hated him. Why? Because Okocha played with a smile. He wasn't out to destroy you. He was out to entertain you. Even the guys he embarrassed most would begrudgingly admit, yeah, I got cooked, but damn, it was beautiful. Fast forward to today, and his impact is everywhere. Every no-look pass, every pointless but iconic flick, every kid trying insane skills in the park. That's Okocha's DNA in modern football. The game used to be about efficiency. Okocha said, nah, let's make it art. So here's the real question. Will we ever see another player like him, honestly? Probably not. The game's too structured now, too robotic. Coaches would bench a modern Okocha for not tracking back. Analytics departments would lose their minds at his low percentage plays. And that's exactly why we need to celebrate him now. The last true football anarchist. The man who played like every match was a YouTube compilation, the undisputed king of chaos. This is where you smash that subscribe button, unless you want to miss the next player who almost makes us feel this way.